Celebi is really, really cute. Hello, welcome to the Yaoi Shelf Live.
Hello.
Uh,
Welcome.
s- so glad to be here. So glad to be upright, breathing on my own.
Is there something I should know?
No.
Like have you been struck dead earlier this week or something? Like should I be concerned?
Uh,
Hi.
no, I have not been struck dead earlier
Hey.
during this week. Um, what did happen is that I did pick up a very healthy addiction to Uma Musume.
Yeah, we talked about that, didn't we?
We did. So I've been in anime horse girl hell.
I love that for you.
I've been in
Like
anime horse
I
girl.
don't know, it sounds so wholesome compared to a lot of the other hells you tend to be in, you know?
It's a shockingly wholesome fandom because while horse racing is inherently unethical, Sylvie
This is Celebi.
making her Yaoi Shelf debut.
Yeah.
So while horse racing is very, very problematic in its own ways, Japanese horse racing, the horses do tend to be treated just a little bit better for the most part. Um, and the fandom is shockingly wholesome because, like, to get the license name of the horses, they have to work with the owners,
Mm.
and the owners usually place pretty reasonable restrictions on what can be done and what can't be done. So, like, there is Celebi is the cutest.
She's very cute.
So there's actually no looting rules because it's a bunch of old Japanese and be like, I don't want porn of my horse, please.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I
So
don't
it's
know why I'm like my brain. This is the Yahweh shelf, but I thought you said looting as in to loot, like people just
taking
stealing. And I'm like, yeah, like what does that have to do with horse racing? I get it. Okay, no,
just a
yeah.
bunch, just a flock of weebs trying to take a 30-year-old horse.
Yes.
So
You wouldn't steal a horse, actually.
You wouldn't download a horse. I did actually several. I did. I downloaded
Oh
several
my god.
horses. So I've been in Uma Musume hell. But I'm so excited to talk about this episode. Um, Dr. Kirsten is the kind of guest I love having on the show because
Yes.
every once in a while, like most creators, you have your moment where you're sitting alone in the dark wearing all black and there's a single candle lit and you question your purpose as an artist, as a creator. Just me? I'm the only one that does that?
I mean, no,
That's
I would change some of the details, but yeah, no.
I was like, just me? Got it.
No, 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 no. I mean, I don't have the candle since I can't breathe if I light candles, but apart from that,
But it was so fulfilling to have Dr. Kirsten on and to feel like we're continually a part of this conversation.
yes. I mean, it was very validating and terrifying. It
Yes.
was. It was a great episode.
It was a great episode.
Um and then the validation continues as I got a message today from Dr.
Mhm.
Emerald King, who is another great scholar. And she was like, "Oh, I'll show this episode to my students." And once again, that thing that you talked about in the main episode about, oh God, people listen to this. I was like, oh my God. What do you mean you're going to show it to your students?
What do you mean?
What do you mean we are now curriculum? I'm afraid. I am concerned.
I mean, okay, if an episode of the Yaoi Shelf has to be curriculum, that's a good episode.
Yeah, please take one of the ones with the experts,
Yes.
with the actual scholars on.
We need to make
Yeah,
a
no.
curriculum. We need to make a curriculum playlist. And it's just all the times that we were very good with scholars.
Yeah.
But it was so nice to talk about and to go through that. I still have my head buzzing with BL Odo stuff
Yeah.
because it is in my veins.
Truly. Like we were raised. I was born and raised on this road, okay? On this
I was
path.
too. I was too, and I just I had such a great time. I always say Carola is one of my favorite people, and I.
God knows why. Also, I am severely struggling to breathe right now. I don't know what's wrong with
When
me.
are you not struggling to breathe? Is the
I
question.
Yeah, and I will say this, which I realized for those who have not been paying attention. I have two cats now because I
Mhm.
decided to get another one because I wasn't able to let it go. And the day before we went to pick up baby Celebi, it
Mhm.
struck me that I've never had two cats, and I don't know how my allergies are going to respond to having two cats. I don't care. Like, I'll die. Like, it's fine. I'll die for them. No problem. I don't think that's why I can't breathe. I think it's something else.
Now, I do have to say you are under contract, as I do own the remainder of your soul, so you
But
can't die yet.
I'll do my best.
Thank you. Let's see. It was very interesting hearing about the doujinshi conventions. As someone who doesn't follow what happens in
Mm,
Japan often, I found it very informative. Uh, I think things like Comic Cat and the doujin conventions have loomed very high in the imagination of some fans because, again, of the way that doujin and fan works is treated in Japan versus how some of that conversation, especially when we were coming up, was
mm,
not complimentary towards fan artists.
mm.
I don't know if you got any of this when you were writing fanfic, but just write an original story,
Yeah,
which you did, and that's why you're better than me.
but again, I think it's, like you said, these are two very different worlds because the
Mhm,
the world of fan works in Japan has always
mhm,
been, you know if you go back to the beginnings, as I love to do because I live and breathe BL history, but you
mhm,
look at things like June and similar magazines and publications from the from the way back in the beginning. Hey. and and you would have amateurs and published
mhm,
mangaka and writers publishing alongside each other. So you could have like Takemiya Keiko on one page, and then you would have some random person somewhere,
mhm,
submitting their works on the next page. So they always went hand in hand. And like we talked about, I think in the last episode, how a lot of these, or maybe that was in, no, it was the last episode, I think, what that the a lot of the mangaka that we know started out writing dojin for
mhm,
or being assistants to other mangaka. So it's a lot more intertwined. But also I think, again, and we talk about this, we have talked about this because we are contractually obligated to try to talk about our own writing experiences every so often because it's good for us, it's healthy, we need to acknowledge ourselves. But
I don't know what the
you
fuck you're
know,
talking about.
I'm trying. Listen, I'm trying to acknowledge our talents and our skills and our hard work. But that, how we both lived in a world where written fan works have
Mhm,
been not as appreciated in many ways as, and the same goes for original work as well, because people, it takes less effort to enjoy a drawing versus
mhm,
sitting down and reading a fic or a book or anything that requires
mhm,
you to actually sit down and not just look at it briefly. So I think that also ties into it, in
mhm,
that whole conversation and the whole feeling of feeling disregarded, as Ren
mhm.
says in the comments.
Yes. Um, which is so interesting considering that like fanfic is the backbone
Right.
of the fandom experience. I do like that we're entering kind of like not like a new renaissance, but like a renaissance or revival of really treating fan authors like they're important.
Mm.
I really appreciate that. Um,
Yeah.
it also, much like this podcast, it makes me somewhat uncomfortable because it's like, how many people have read my smut?
Yeah, right. And and again, it's like I've said so many times, let me validate you. I am now the ostrich gif that you enjoy sending me. But like on a general basis, more people have read your fanfics than the number of people who have bought my novels, probably, because it's harder to reach with original works. um and people are looking up fan works for a reason, right? And you're
Yeah.
catering to an existing market and you're good at it. this this is the live where I just flatter Amanda until she explodes.
And I just pass away.
Please don't die. I don't know how to do anything. I don't.
I love that this creates a situation where neither of us can die because I definitely can't do what you do and you can't do what I do.
It's an incredibly, like, we are both good at our own things,
Yes,
and unfortunately there's like very little overlap, and
correct.
neither of us learn anything from the other, apparently.
This is true. I recently published some of my fics online and was kind of horrified when people started reading it. Thankfully, everyone. Yeah,
Yeah.
this. As the patron saint of Wink and Tell,
Yes, correct.
I thank you. I will say, like, I started using that tag on my fics, and people have actually been like, "Yes, this did help me," and it's like, oh, that's amazing information to have.
Mm-hmm.
But I also have 50 more questions for you now. I hope you're ready for your exit survey.
And it's like, at no point do I mean to make you uncomfortable, but also do tell.
Yeah. This is
Not
in a
like
this
not for
is
nefarious purposes. This
no,
is
not
just
at all. This is in my world the highest form of a compliment.
right.
You have given me knowledge that in my weird world of people with like tarps and like caravans parading around in the streets like a medieval fair, us old-timey smut peddlers, you have paid me the highest compliment I could receive. Please elaborate upon your experience.
Right? Like, please.
I want to talk about the BL Odo because the BL Odo is one of those things, and we mentioned this in the episode that that even if you didn't know the name of it,
Mm.
you have lived and participated in.
Yeah.
Um, because I don't think I learned the formal name of it until Carola appeared in my life.
Happy to be of service.
But I had obviously been a part
Yeah.
of it with all the shipping manifestos that usually included a lengthy portion on why you think each character is that particular placement. I say this like it's astrology.
This makes so much more sense to me than astrology. I don't get astrology. I don't go there.
I do.
I will say I do agree with my zodiac. I am very much a Cancer, but that's as far as it goes.
But you're a July Cancer like me. We're special.
Okay, sure.
Yes.
I don't know anything else.
We will have a zodiac conversation later. Zodiac is in the star signs, not Zodiac Killer. We're not going to go offline and talk. We're not going to go offline and just start sharing case files.
What do you mean? What do you think that you and I do in our private chats? Do we not talk about true crime all the time?
We did. I say that like literally as I was saying that.
Have you
And I was like,
forgotten
but we
about
do
Blood
that.
Mountain, Amanda? What about Blood Mountain?
I have never forgotten about Blood Mountain. It's like as I was saying that, I was like, this is fucking a lie. We absolutely do that.
Oh my god.
The BL Odo is so fascinating. And I think especially what's amazing to think about now is its enduring legacy.
Yeah.
And that in a lot of ways, it's sort of like this litmus test of a dividing line in fandom. And you can spot one of us from a mile away because we're usually in a corner somewhere freaking out when a character that we always assumed was Seme is now Uke.
Yeah. And I have talked about this so much, but like it's what was that groan?
I
Is
didn't
it?
groan.
Oh, okay, I thought you were groaning. I thought it was because I'm like back on my BS. No, but like
I would never.
I've talked about this so much, but like I always talk about how BL is subversive, and I think it's wonderful how
Mm-hmm.
it's constantly challenging and evolving and subverting the norms, and how it is, like Dr. Kirsten said, it's subvertive from the get go. Like that's how it
Mm-hmm.
all began, right? But at the same time, I am so stuck in my ways. And I have these, like, my BL Odo is a very strong traditional one. Okay. So I'll be like, you know, I'll be like, yes, I think it's beautiful that we can evolve and develop the genre together, and I think it's so exciting to see all of these changes and the evolution and everything. And then I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
what is the deal with all of these younger small Samus and like I want give me back my twinks being dicked down by the larger man. Like I'm sorry, but that is how I prefer my BL. I'm not saying that I can't enjoy anything else, but I
Mm-hmm.
have a very strong preference. Like we talked about in the main episode, there's nothing
Yes.
wrong with having a preference. There's nothing wrong with having chosen your path and being willing to die on that path, which hello
Right.
me most of the time. But yeah.
I say that with love, like I'm not very similar.
Yeah, and both of us have moments when we're like when we sort of like stray away from that a little or like challenge ourselves. It depends
Mm-hmm.
a little, but by and large we both have our very strong preferences that are so ingrained in us that we're
Yes.
just like, I don't know how to do anything else. And not like it's not because I want to be stubborn and old and difficult. I'm a creature of habit.
Well, and I think very much in the way that like you form your sexual and gender identity and it isn't always the unified decision. So like for me, I realize I'm technically closer to pan or omnisexual,
Mm,
but for me my definition of bisexuality never, not included non-binary people.
mm.
Like that to me never made sense. So bisexuality always fit for me. I think we do the same thing with BL Odo in that it's amazing what we will keep and what we are willing to change and adjust. Like if you read any of my fics, you can definitely see there's a pattern there.
Mm. Same.
And that is part of the BL Odo that formed me.
Mm.
This was stuff deeply inspired by what I read and who I read and who I decided. If you think of like the Mount Rushmore of mangaka that formed me.
I need you to know, Amanda,
Yes.
that whenever someone mentions Mount Rushmore, I know what it looks like. But you better believe I imagine the Hokage Mountain.
I want to be disappointed in you. I want to be. I want to be, but I can't.
This is where I was raised. I can't help it.
I so badly want to be deeply disappointed in you in the way a parent is of a child. But I can't. I find it very interesting that you can sometimes tell whose writing is influenced by it versus writers you can tell BL wasn't their start. Yes.
Mm. Right? I agree. The
Yes.
Hokage one is better. But yeah,
I would make an argument that for making bad decisions, Mount Rushmore is on par with the Hokage Mountain.
I do want to acknowledge I'm not an American.
You are not.
And I grew up like, again, I grew up in a very Americanized, America-centric world. So I have seen Mount Rushmore and parodies of Mount Rushmore a million times growing up, you
Mhm.
know? But I can't remember. If you ask me, I can't remember who's on it. But if you
Yeah.
ask me who's on Hokage Mountain, I know.
So the presidents can be shippable. Actually, we did have like one gay president who had a male friend
I
who
love the
lived in the
male
White
friend.
House with him, and everyone calls that man the Mrs.
Ooh.
So we did have a gay president. But yes, the presidents of Mount Rushmore can be shippable. I actually had to Google it because even though I live in America and took AP US history, it's Washington, Jefferson, Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln. I agree with two of those.
I knew it was, or rather, I assumed it was Washington and Lincoln at least, but I wasn't sure who the others were.
Roosevelt is fine. Jefferson, we're not going to talk about him. But yeah, like if you look at my, BL Mount Rushmore,
Amanda, please, we need BL Mount Rushmore, and it's like just these chiseled salmon faces, his like of the most iconic. Yes.
like you can see them running through my work and
Mm.
like things that planted itself very very quickly into my heart when I was reading this stuff at a formative age. The
Are
uh
you okay?
no, this is the sacrifice of looking so dewy and soft.
Truly, truly, you just came in looking great today, and
I
now you have
came
to
in
suffer for it.
I came in looking great today, and now I've lost the ability to speak coherently. Um, like you can see that. You can see. I would wager to say this. Oh, a
Mm.
BL Mount Rushmore would be
And I also like you can.
fantastic.
It's like a double innuendo because it's like Mount of BL. Well,
One of my least favorite positions,
I mean, sure, but it works in, yeah.
except for in
Go
a
on.
Megaverse.
Oh my god, don't talk.
We're
It
gonna have to
keeps.
have.
I know.
This is
I
coming,
know.
and
I
I, for
know.
one, can't wait. But like you can see, and I know I see it in Carola's work. Like I'm sure Carola can see it in mine. You can see our roots very easily.
Yeah, I
You can
think
see you can see the places where we lingered.
I okay, listen. I
Please
I'm not
defend
gonna
yourself.
no, I'm not even defending myself. I'm not gonna name any names, okay? But I'm just saying that when I wrote my first BL novel, which again, one day I will actually re-edit it. I did start and then everything went to hell in November, so I never finished. But I think that is definitely the one that is the most has the most traces of both fanfic language and
Hmm.
also traces of and influences of things I have read.
Hmm.
BLs I have read. And again, not naming any names, we have, things like, well, I mean, it's a classic BL tragedy. There are some tropes. There's a boyfriend moving to New York, the boyfriend stealing city because it's always New York. And it's like there are like I did, and it's like it's not even like I wasn't even trying to like copy the things that I truly loved or the things that I had seen. It was just it was so ingrained in
Well,
me that it just happened.
so here's the trope I stole from Gravitation and from other
I
series.
didn't say any names. What? Who said anything about gravitation?
Breaking news alert: fork found in drawer. Water is also still wet. Ongoing stories to be reported as they come in.
I listen. I'm being slandered. I and the the worst part is that, even now, like, it keeps haunting me because, yes, of course, gravitation was a big part of it because New York. But then, here I am, God knows how many years later, and New York keeps stealing boyfriends in the BL I'm reading. So apparently that's just,
But
I didn't have a choice, apparently.
so the one I took, and this is also another series, but since I'm dragging Carola, mine is two men who are clearly in love and can't have a conversation.
I mean, that could be literally any BL.
It is, but I mostly imagine the very emotionally constipated Yukieri.
I love him.
I don't want to have another gravitation episode, but I feel like there's always something that we could talk about.
Okay.
We're talking about the BL Odo.
Yes, but can I just tell you something very exciting? Because last week I once again decided stupidly in the middle of the night to I told you about this in our chat. I moved one thing and then I had to redo my entire shelf space, or like half of it, because everything was fucked. And I finally figured out, oh my god, yes, 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 let's do it. I want, like, there's nothing more I want in my, like, please, can we do it? But we need a therapist. That's the thing, though. We need a therapist.
If you know any
like
therapists,
in general, but like
I was about to say, you want me to call mine?
Yes. No,
she's a
but
stern, no nonsense black woman.
She'd love Kudose, I'm sure. She'd just fucking strangle him. No, but I don't know. I was doing, I was redoing some stuff, and then I was able to free up the top space of one of my BL shelves, and I have these, like, you've seen these Japanese contraptions, like they're like little cardboard thingies that you can stack manga on, so you can have them like behind and then in front. And that never works on my shelves because, again, Norwegian shelves for some fucking reason aren't deep enough. But I was able to do it on top of the shelf, and I was able to squeeze all my gravitation manga together in a much more aesthetically pleasing way, and I am so happy. I just wanted to share that with everybody. Here on the gravitation shelf.
You know, when Carola and I were arranged married, I think I knew what I was getting into.
No, you didn't. I was on my best behavior.
We were both on our best behavior. That's beautiful.
Thank you. I'm very happy.
But I think what's also interesting about BL Odo is how much soul searching it makes you do. Which can be difficult as a fan and as a creator to think about. Out of all the things that you read, here's what sticks. And for me, in just big black letters, it's Black Cat Golden Retriever.
Yes.
Like, oh my god, everyone is so fucking happy about getting your manga. I have Nindos that arrived. I have to pick them up from the mailbox.
Yay! Finally. Weren't they being like held hostage or something?
Oh my god, my Nindo drama. So I ordered the Twittering Birds Never Fly Nindos. I pre-ordered them last year. They're finally out. So they made it to Houston, which is a few hours away from me. So it's like, cool, Houston. It went back from Houston to Phoenix to Anaheim. And then from Anaheim, California, back to me.
But why?
I have no idea. I got Yashido and Dameki. They come as a pair, which is perfect.
Yes. I don't have enough BL Nendos. I don't have... Do I have any BL? Yes, I do.
I mean, as you've seen with my shelf, any Nindo can be a BL Nindo. I have fucking Dobby Hawks above me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I do have a lot of those. I mean, I have several Sasunaru Nendos.
I know.
But, yeah, they wanted to fly around first.
It's like, yeah, they were enjoying their American trip, and needed to explore more of Phoenix, Arizona, and Anaheim, California.
I mean, maybe they wanted to go to Disneyland. That's in Anaheim, right?
Yes.
Look at me knowing stuff about American geography.
I'm so proud of you.
Wow.
Um, but I love the soul searching that BL Odo kind of makes us do of like really that sounded weird in my head. I was gonna say really nailing down what our influences are. I know.
I love that's one of my favorite things about BL Odo actually, the nailing down.
Catholic disassociation.
See, I don't have any of that. I'm fine.
Briefly disassociates and Catholic. But I love that like nailing down of what your influences are and where your roots are and the soul searching that comes out.
Amanda's like desperately trying to keep a steady course of like sane conversation, and everyone's just like falling apart.
I mean, I love it. This is why I love doing live streams. But like really being able to sit with yourself and think about like, oh, this is the potion that created me. This is the recipe. This is, you know, if you had to be a pie, what the
What?
ingredients are. Listen, okay, here we go. Carola, you talk. So I did listen to the episode. I freaking loved it. I'm just still very confused about the BL Odo. You talk now.
I talk now. Okay, wait. I'm just gonna try to find like a. Let's see.
No, it's okay. That's why we did a whole episode on it.
Yeah. Okay. So, like I said in the main episode, so Odo means path, right, or
Mm-hmm.
road, or you know, something you travel down, or yeah. And like I said in the main episode, there are many Japanese words or like terms that have like Odo in them or are associated. And the one we are most familiar with is Bushido, which is
Mm-hmm.
like way of the sword, or often translated into way of the samurai. And the samurai have like there are these really strict codes and regulations and all of these honors that are associated with the path that they follow,
Mm-hmm.
and the conventions that are related to the act of being a samurai, or the profession of
Mm-hmm.
being a samurai, or following the way of the sword. And so the BL Odo is essentially that. It's just the Fujin way. So
Yeah.
it's like these are the conventions that shape the practices of BL. So, for
Mm-hmm.
instance, when we talk about the traditional dynamics of, we talk about the semeuki dynamics, we talk about shipping culture or coupling culture in Japanese, and all of these like fan practices that go into
Mm-hmm.
BL, and the creation and enjoyment of BL is part of the BL Odo. So, but I guess where it can get a little confusing is like because when Dr. Kirsten summarized it as well, she's talking about the conventions, but
Mm-hmm.
then she's also talking about how within these spaces the conventions can be different. So,
Mm-hmm.
and when I say conventions, I'm not I'm talking about, like the rules or like the practices, and then
Right.
within that, because we talked about fan conventions, like actual
Mm-hmm.
spaces where fans go
Mm-hmm.
and buy and sell dojin, for instance, that's where you'll have like those strictly like lined up areas where in block B all of the AXB character dojin is sold,
Mm-hmm.
while in block A it's the BXA, so the reverse of that pairing, because people are so strict about their preferences. But
Mm-hmm.
so within that, they're like everyone follows their own path within the rules. So even though, to use my favorite and non-favorite thing, Sasunaru Sasu, right? So I I walk the path of Sasunaru, uh,
Mm-hmm.
whereas the internet today has decided that it's Naru Sasu, right? And both of those follow within the same BL Odo, the same conventions for the pairing, but at the same time not, because the Narusasu shippers don't
Mm-hmm.
see the ship in the same way that the Sasunaru shippers do.
Mm-hmm.
So So it's very rigid and also very subversive at the same time. It's very fascinating.
It is, and I think it's interesting that you talk about it. And I think one thing I loved about Dr. Kirsten was bringing in that very Japanese aspect of it, is letting
Mm,
us understand the East. One thing I will say, especially in Western fandom, it's a little bit different. We tend to be we tend to be a little bit looser with some of our rules. Sasunaru is the only path.
right? Thank you.
Stop it.
I mean, it is okay if you ship Naruto, so it's perfectly okay. I respect you.
Me over
I
here,
just,
me over here shipping Naruto and Gara, saying I can make him worse.
but I mean, I see Naruga. I
I
think it's
know.
cute. And one
Okay.
of my favorite things in the world is Gara sulking off to the side, thinking, I could have done this so much better. Why do you love him? He's such an ass. But here we are.
Me contemplating every life decision I've made leading up
I
to
love
this
them
moment.
so much, Amanda. You don't understand.
Me sighing and
Oh.
contemplating every life choice. But like in some places we're a little bit less rigid, in some places we're a little bit more rigid. So like I
Mm,
find our convention culture is definitely not as strict because our dojin culture is not the same. So if I were to go into a convention and it's usually like covered over with like a tarp and you have to show your ID to get in, it feels like you're going into like a forbidden spice market. Um,
yeah.
and you're under the tarp and you're surrounded by all these other perverts and you're looking for dogen. You tend to care less about, oh, this rigidly has to be
Mm,
this pairing this way. It's, oh shit, a ship. And then you run, you throw $100 at the man who took your identification
yeah.
and
But
you run.
I think a lot of that also comes from, when you have a lot to choose from,
Correct.
you get to be choosy. So in the Japanese fan spaces, because this is where all of this was born, right? And
Mhm.
again, looking at look going back to what we talked about like at the beginning of this live about
Mhm.
the conventions and like the fan events, that we talk about Comiket a lot and how
Mhm.
Comiket is generally now seen as, it's mostly male otaku and like male centered dojin,
Mhm.
but the fujin, the fujo, the original fujoshi were some of the biggest both sellers and creators and
Correct.
visitors from the beginning. Like they're part
Mhm.
of the founding group of Comiket. But now
Mhm.
it has dwindled because it has split into separate events. And like I know about things like it's like Comitia and
Mhm.
there are all of these like in Ikebukuro in particular there are all of these like smaller dojin fests and fan
Mhm.
spaces that are being held annually, but then Dr. Kirsten comes in and is like, oh yeah, but there will be like a fan event for this specific series or this specific ship almost every 2 weeks because it's so like the market is so saturated. There's like you have so much to choose from, so you you have the luxury of doing that. Whereas we were just dumpster diving and just like
Yeah,
scavenging for whatever you could get. Like I don't care.
literally that.
So
Literally that.
yeah.
And it's funny, to tie it back to like the Nindos. We're making BL out of whatever we can. Like that is the Western fan experience. I've seen all of My Hero Academia. I can promise you it's only 50% gay, which is not enough to qualify it as a BL.
No, but it's
But I
okay.
but I don't need it to be BL because in my mind it already is.
Listen, I'm over here gratuitously enjoying my side dishes that are like, miritama is just the side dish that is one of those ridiculously overpriced things on a plate that's just like a tiny little like thumbnail sized piece of food, but I'll
Did I
take
ever
it.
tell you about the Ayurvedic meal starter?
No.
Well, I'm going to address this comment first. As someone whose writing
Mm,
roots are in Western fandom, I got so used to no setup, top or bottoms, as well as a lot of switching.
mm,
Same, but also not as much. I definitely realized I became a bigger fan of switching as I got older. But when I was younger, I was very, very rigid. Like, no, you top, you
Yeah.
bottom.
But
Um,
I also think because I'm very much the same. I think a lot of that also comes from, again, how we are being presented with more choices now and more
mhm,
like well-rounded characters who aren't just stereotypical. They're not just a dynamic. It's not just
mhm.
like, oh, here's a moody, broody, chain smoking Sam, his dumb as a brick, stupid, short, you know, not thinking of anyone in particular.
We have names.
but like but I because I know I'm very like, I talk about how rigid I am with these setups, but again, I've also talked about how both, like in my own writing as well, there are dynamics that this character tops with that character but he bottoms with that character. Like
Mhm,
it depends on the relationship and on the dynamics. and
mhm,
and now I have a couple who switches because that's natural for them and how I have written them, and the kind of like the character types and the dynamics and the personalities that I've given them. But
mhm,
and I think that a lot of characters that we see these days are more well-rounded in that way,
mhm,
and particularly I think, but I also think that a lot of the reason that we see it in fan works, and I can't speak to the Western fan experience because I was never really in the Western fan spaces, at least not with fanfic and stuff, but
I have the name.
yeah, I wasn't there with you. I wasn't in the super hulock hell, thank God. I was I've always like, my fandom experience is very much rooted in particularly Japanese and
Mhm,
animated stuff. But
mhm,
I think also that a lot of it also comes from um the discourse and the more political stances, and that people have become much more aware of wanting to portray more realistic people, which of course
mhm.
leads down a whole other path where sometimes people will be like, oh, but you are not allowed to write a strictly bottom or strictly top character because gay people aren't like that. And then literal gay people are sitting there like, actually, some of us do have strong preferences. Like everything is a spectrum. But I think that a lot of the reason why we're seeing so much more versatile couples now is because people are so much more aware of these things, which is good as long as we're all behaving nicely about it.
I I'm gonna save everything that I have to say for the Omegaverse episode because we have a lot to talk about when it comes to sociopolitics and
Mm,
this new caste system that we have.
yeah.
So uh, m- just think that's with me. No, you can't. It's with us forever. Okay, let's get through these comments. And I'll get back to the Ayurvedic meal starter. That's so true. When I first got into fandom, I just enjoyed whatever. Exactly. Like I
Yeah.
was reading fan works of characters I barely even knew, and I was like, "It's gay! Yay!"
Yeah.
Just,
And then you'd get into fandoms or like series
yeah,
because you'd seen ships of it and you were just like, I am here for this.
that
And then
was
you
me
find
with
out
D. Gray Man.
right, and then you find out that these characters have never interacted in canon ever, but you wouldn't know that. You just
That
saw these boys kissing on the front page of DeviantArt every day of your life.
there was literally one artist who does Kamubok, Kamui Lee, and Bakchang from D.
Mm.
Grayman so much that one, people think that they're his OCs. They're not. Two, that got me to cosplay as Bakchang and to read D. Grayman.
Right.
So one artist, I am that easy to influence. I'm currently in that mindset now where I like classic looking uke and seme. It's probably because the first yaoi I fell in love with is Love Stage.
Mm.
I've yet to venture out. There's nothing wrong with that. And yeah, I think that conversation is so interesting. And again, I want to put a pin in it because I feel like we're going to have a lot to say on that when we do talk about Omegaverse, because there is a lot of overlap between some of the reductive conversations of Seme
Mm.
and Uke that bleed into Omegaverse and amplify.
Yes. I mean, even
Ayurveda.
I know that. Like, this
Yes.
is the part of a megaverse that I think is very fascinating, like these parts of it. And then I'm over here like, I don't understand. I don't get it.
I I don't know what you don't
I
understand. It's
don't know either, okay? I think I'm just really stupid. I mean, clearly,
you're
because
not.
I did buy 3 volumes of Tsugumi and Megumi and not realize it was in a Megaverse,
And did
despite
and it had the biggest Omega verse symbol on it.
I did! Exactly, which is why I'm saying I am stupid. Is Amanda frozen?
No, I'm here. I'm still here. We
Or
are
am I?
talking about Omegaverse. You're not frozen either. Everything is fine. We are talking about Omegaverse because I love it.
And I don't understand it, but I will do my best.
So the Ayurvedic meal starter, I went to this like vegan restaurant with a friend. Like it was a work thing, and he was super like into veganism and everything like that. So we wanted to try. So we all went. Most of us are full blooded Texans who live off of brisket and meat byproducts. I usually avoid vegan food because a lot of the substitutes for dairy involve nuts, which I can't eat.
Yeah.
So we saw this thing on the menu called the Ayurvedic meal starter. It was $6. Um, and it was meant to be like this perfectly curated meal starter to like help improve appetite and everything. Uh, and they literally served me a spoon with turmeric vinegar and a leaf, and it was $6.
Yep. Yep.
Uh, and I
That
was upset.
that
I
that
sent
sounds like
you I sent you a whole Tamaki magazine. There's a
Oh yeah,
Tamaki
you
zine.
did. Yeah, I did see it, but then I didn't see
Yeah.
it because I've been living on the bathroom floor. So
I
I'm
was like,
gonna
I
have a
sent you a whole Tamaki magazine. Um,
You did.
I struggle with Omegaverse. I like the concept. I usually don't like the execution. Yes. Yeah.
I can put the my finger exactly on what it is I don't like. I just I don't like the pregnancy thing.
That
I
isn't always a key
No,
aspect
but
of it.
it's just I just don't like it. Just puts me off so bad, and I don't know, and it's just I don't know. There are just so many things, and I don't get it. And also, I'm stupid.
You're not
I don't get it. Remember when you made me take that test to find out like what are you in the Omegaverse, and I got beta because I just can't wrap my head around it. I am so plain and so boring.
you're
And it was
not
like, no. And the
though.
result was like, why are you even taking this test?
I think the beauty of Omegaverse is that it's so like in conspiracy theories, there are things called big tent conspiracies, and big tent conspiracies can hold a lot of smaller conspiracy theories. So, like for instance, a big tent conspiracy is like QAnon, and within QAnon, you can have a bunch of other smaller conspiracy theories that all fit within the same big tent. Omegaverse is a big tent with all these other tropes
Mm.
in it, and I truly do think because it's really depending on where you're reading it from. Hello, fellow person of culture. Uh,
No, actually, I lied because as I'm thinking about it, there are multiple things I don't like.
yes,
But yeah,
but I
no.
think if you could find the part of it that you do, and I think that it's there as the premier Omegaverse scholar, I think that it's there. You just have to sift through to find it.
I just think that maybe I just don't like it, and that's okay.
Well, we're doing an episode on it, so
Yeah. I will try
it
to
was horrid.
educate. Yeah, it sounds horrific. Like yes, when I compared I mean when you compared my comparison of Miritama to something like that, I just want to point out that Miritama is a lot more tasty, but it is equally small and expensive
Hmm.
because they barely get to exist.
I have a personal fear of pregnancy as someone who can get pregnant, but for some reason, same.
Because fiction is magic.
And also, there's a very I'm saving that. We're gonna have an Omegaverse episode, and we're gonna talk about so many things. You
I don't have any rights on this podcast. I don't.
For a literal pink uke, you have so many rights.
This reminds me that I was watching something. Oh yeah, because we were, because you know how the Toricon organizers were watching Sailor Moon.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's this one episode where, like in season one, where there's this dude who has like telepathic powers and he uses it to cheat at games, and he cheats at crane games and he wins all these plushies, and there's a plushie, and I swear to God it's Shuichi.
Yes, Carola. Bring me all of your questions about Omegaverse. I will
I feel
answer
like
them.
I feel like I already did that.
You did.
If you want to hear us talk about the questions I have about Omegaverse, we did a Patreon exclusive on it, in which Amanda did a dramatic reading of a fanfic.
Disassociated the entire time.
It was so funny. The part where he just started singing Johnny Cash in the middle was great.
This is why we can't be educators.
I cannot believe someone is going to show our podcast.
I take back what I said. No one should know about this podcast.
Like, please listen to our good episodes. And if you are an academic, do not check out our Patreon. If you are not an academic, please do check out the Patreon, because we need money to buy more BL.
We do need money. But I think what's amazing is, to put a bow on it, it's being able to think and analyze your roots. It's being able to look at the foul dust that formed you.
You don't have to call me out like that.
I mean, it's a great Gatsby illusion. Which is the foul dust that formed me.
I have never actually read The Great Gatsby. I know.
What?
I know, but you need to remember, I grew up in Norway, where it is not it's not compulsory reading in high school. And then when I went to university and studied literature, I only This truly is the episode where Amanda gets all the flattery and will explode.
Oh my God. Thank you.
What a way to get into it.
That's just, if I had a heart, it would pull at my heartstrings. But yeah, I've had a really, really good time, especially recently, sort of deconstructing why I like what I like. Because, we had that talk where, like, it's okay to have strong preferences. It is. But I also think, as someone who's media literate, as someone who's growing, who's changing, who is not the same, I thought there was going to be a cat, and I got really excited.
No, she's laying here. She's asleep.
Oh, to examine why you are so attached to certain things. Why I keep quoting The Great Gatsby.
I will read it. I plan to read it for a very long time, but there are so many things.
There's 2 possible yaoi pairings, and one of them is very toxic. I have a classical literature podcast where we actually do end up talking about sometimes if we could ship fictional characters. So if you want that, let me know. It's with another American, so we're more aligned on our reading. If you want my classic lit podcast, I will happily drop it. But I've had a good time enjoying that. It's like, why do I think semeis look and sound and feel a certain way? Why do I think ukes look and sound and feel a certain way? Does that have anything to do with how I formed my masculinity, which was staring at an effigy of Yuki Eri Oh, Tamaki from Oron and Nicholas D. Wolfwood.
You know, one of these is not like the others.
And yet here we are. I don't know how to explain it to you, but when I decided I was building, it's like those Play-Doh toys from the 90s. You put in like three different colors and you get like a swirl. That
Mm.
was through the three Play-Doh colors I chose, and I was like, from this I will make a masculinity.
Oh my god, that is an amazing analogy.
From this.
I just remember seeing those commercials and being so jealous because it looked so cool. And then I was convinced that Play-Doh wouldn't be like the other clay that we got to play with, that where, you know, everything just becomes this brown pile at the end because you mix them all
Yeah,
together. And I was convinced that that would never happen to Play-Doh.
happens to Play-Doh so hard.
Oh, that's sad.
I will drop it in the Discord. Uh because yes, we do talk a lot about gay classic lit. Um but I've really enjoyed that. I also want to talk a little bit about that sexual politics of what gets to be porn,
Mm.
because that was something that was that conversation has always been one of the most interesting aspects of being a BL fan, of being a yaoi fan, is what makes this so different to some people and even some of us within our own fandom. So like I have an auntie who the only books she reads are like those adult steamy romance novels. Those are the only books she reads. Frankly, I'm just glad she's reading, but those are the only books she reads. The only TV she watches are Hallmark movies, and the only books she reads are those like steamy romance ones. Um, And I'm just going to say a brief aside. My grandfather did not go into the Air Force, so they all could go to college for her to do that. That's a different episode. But when I was on when they were here for my birthday, they're like, oh, go pick out a book because she wanted a book. It wasn't actually for me, it was for her. Oh,
Yeah,
I just got to
of course.
benefit. So I picked up a book and she found her steamy het romance. And she's just like reading it in the car, talking
Yeah.
about like, oh, he's mounting her on the kitchen counter. It's like, okay, cool. I'm just gonna say, y'all told me I was going to hell for reading yaoi.
Right? I
I just,
think that
I'd like the record to state, y'all told me I was going to hell.
like I don't want to like I really don't want to go back here, but again, like it's such a like it's such a difficult conversation because yes, I am very pro sexuality and I think it's great, like you say, like I think it's great that people are reading, like as long as you're reading. And
Right.
so I'm sorry to bring it back to the 50 Shades pandemic years ago, right? Because I think that is the closest I've ever come to being like one of these insane censorship antis. And it's not
Mm-hmm.
because I'm an anti, it's because
Mm-hmm.
the way that 50 Shades and also Twilight was being promoted
Mm-hmm.
was like full of misinformation and glorification,
Mm-hmm.
like literal glorification and
Mm-hmm.
misinformation. And the way they were selling it to an audience that didn't have the media literacy to
Mm-hmm.
understand that this was, dare I say it, problematic. And I think it's so fascinating that we have always been getting flack for, and I say we as in Fujin enjoying
Mm-hmm.
queer content, as queer people, as
Mm-hmm.
women or afabs enjoying porn, whatever. You're constantly like being looked down upon and
Mm-hmm.
looked at as a freak, and then all of a sudden everyone is celebrating this novel series, and when the film comes out they make it into a gimmick where they're like handing out cucumbers and like seat protectors at the cinema, because and they're making a whole thing out of it. And like I don't want to shame anyone's sexuality, but like that's too much. And why is that okay? And then what we're doing is degenerate.
Right.
Like,
Also,
I'm sorry, I haven't even ever alluded to masturbating with a cucumber in the cinema.
I want to say one thing. One, I hate you for bringing me back to those
I'm
trenches.
sorry, I also hate myself.
I feel like I am perpetually 3 trenches deep, and it's like Super Hulock, Twilight, 50 Shades of Grey, and then like Voltron Steven Universe. I am perpetually between 3 trenches.
It's just, and it's like, and like, but we're seeing it now, right? Because again, I work with youth at the library, and
Mhm.
and literature, and we talk a lot about these things, and like we had the whole cursed content night, and we have
Mhm.
like there's constant discourse about stuff like dark romance, and dark romance being aimed at a young female audience. And I'm like, I mean, I will say I haven't read what is it, Haunting Adeline, or whatever it's called, Haunting or Hunting.
I don't
I don't know, I haven't read it, so I don't get to have a point, like, but the
know.
point is that there's nothing wrong with enjoying these things. There's nothing wrong with dark romance and
Mhm.
problematic topics in fiction, as long as you're able to separate it from the real thing. And
Right.
that was where the conversation went awry with 50 Shades, because people were literally running around like, it would be as if the BL fans, like, imagine if Fujin were like, oh, I wish I lived in Okaneganai. I wish some rich dude would just buy me and lock me up in an apartment and abuse me every day. Like, that's the same thing.
Yes, I've noticed even this week some people are talking about all BL being smut when
Yeah.
there are clearly so many that aren't explicit at all, and het romance never gets those critiques. So, like, I get to glimpse at book talk every once in a while, and these are the most insatiable, horny women who have husbands who won't let them come. And I say that, like, I don't want to say affectionately, but with more empathy than I think sometimes they
Yeah, yeah,
deserve.
yeah.
Um, these are clearly just sexually frustrated women, and I love that for them. That they can read
No,
their fairy fucking books.
yeah. I no no
Ah!
None of us want to be Ayase. I think that's, oh my god.
But
That poor boy.
I love that they can find an outlet for their two pump chump husband
Yeah.
through these what are basically porn books. I love that for them. But why are they allowed to talk about stuff that in many ways is more sexually explicit than some of the BL we read?
Yeah.
And we aren't. And obviously, homophobia is a big part
Of
of it.
course.
Of
Yeah.
course. A lot of it is homophobia. So, like, yeah, my aunts who are Catholic definitely had some of that when they were saying, I was going to hell for this. Uh,
To be fair, you are going to hell, but there are many reasons for that. Some of which will not be named here, but
I was about to say stairs at our private chat. Uh, the fairy books are there's so many fairy fucking books, and like the fae aren't hot.
I feel like I've been like, I don't know, like there are fairy fucking books everywhere, and even in whatever. Okay, don't judge me. I watched Ginny and Georgia. Okay, I greatly enjoy it. I think it's a very um it's a very relaxing show. Okay, I enjoy it.
That's not
And
going to be the thing to judge you on.
no, I'm just, it's just so, I don't know. I just enjoy it. And in the, I don't remember the names of any characters apart from the two main ones, okay? I don't know, but one of Ginny's friends in the second, or is it third season? The newest season. She has a secret book talk where she does
Mhm,
fairy makeup and talks about fairy porn books, and it becomes like a
mhm.
whole thing, like a running gag throughout the season. So it was like, it's everywhere. And I'm just over here like, I haven't read a single one. Yes, I think it's very enjoyable. And I dare I say it, I enjoy it more than Euphoria. I think Euphoria is depressing.
But I think, like, you mentioned a show like Euphoria, where it's like, oh, this is okay to watch and to talk about. But when I say I want to watch the live action impreg anime, I'm the live action impreg show, I'm weird.
Yeah. But
I'm the
like,
weird one.
but with that said, it's not like we're not acknowledging that there are a lot of people who are very much on the other side of this discussion, and like who are like talking about how if we continue to use Euphoria as an example, like, oh,
Hmm.
that's so problematic because it's showing teenagers, you know, being promiscuous and having sex and doing drugs. And it's like, as if they don't. Like, that's the point. Even if this is fiction, there are kids out there who are living those lives, and you are not inherently a bad person for portraying or enjoying a show that portrays that, because this is, some people live these messy lives, okay? Like, that's just how it is.
I don't know what you're talking about. In high school, I was a perfectly adjusted um, student council member,
Yeah,
scholar.
I certainly never engaged in sexual activities when I was in high school. Actually, I was a saint.
Yeah, I was teaching Sunday school.
You know, it's just so funny to me because this is one of those weird cultural differences where I literally think, still, even though I know it's not the case, but I remember when I first heard of Sunday school, it was, you know, because it was probably some Astrid Lindgren story. I think it was like um Emil i Lönneberga or something. They had Sunday school, and this is like Sweden in the 1800s, right? And I thought that that was something that just existed in historical fiction, and then I started learning about contemporary America, and then you were just like out there living it.
Yeah, I've been to Catholic Halloween parties.
Did they call it that though? They didn't call it Halloween, right?
No, it was All Souls Night. And you dress up as characters from the Bible, and I got in trouble one year for dressing up as Lilith. You said Bible characters, you didn't say the good ones. Um,
You should have
but
just dressed up as Satan with the convertible.
but it's fascinating to me, and like we talked about BL being in this like hentai triangle,
Mm,
which is my new favorite triangle, the hentai triangle.
yeah.
And while that definitely is true and is a part of it, I think there was this like overinflation of degeneracy for so many of us that ties into the episode we did on performative angst.
Mm.
That so many of us, metaphorically and probably also physically, got off on how far can we drag this down into something truly debauched as we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
Um, Stares long and hard at the Full Metal Alchemist fanfic that made me stop reading fanfic for like 10 years.
Good God. Oh my God, she's so cute. She's
She is
stretching.
really cute. I'm also just realizing how pretentious of a writer that I am. Uh, in one of my Full Metal Alchemist fics, I used an allusion to Chinua Achebe, who
Who?
is he's an African writer who talks about like generational trauma and everything. I make an
Oh.
allusion to Chinua Achebe twice in a Full Metal Alchemist smut fic. I am the worst writer.
No, I'm worse, but less pretentious, but worse in different ways.
They've
Oh
been
my
handing
God.
out tracts in my neighborhood to warn against Halloween, encouraging no.
I can't believe America is real. I say that, but we also have strange conservatives around here, like not here, but like in
Mhm.
this country, who have like Halloween alternatives. I think they call it like, okay, so you know it's Halloween, and we say Halloween in Norwegian as well. I mean, we say Halloween, so it's like it's similar, but
Ye.
but the Norwegian word for friend, right, is venn. So they'll have something called Halloven, which means like hello friend, and it's like without all of the dark and scary and gory things, but only nice, and no one gets to be excluded. I'm like, why can't the kids enjoy demons and scary stuff and also not exclude people? I don't
Because they turn into us.
like, please stop. We don't
Because
want to be.
they turn into us. This is what happens when your kid looks at the Easter show and says Satan is cool. I am the product.
Oh
But
God.
I think that that's so interesting because, and like even now, like I almost never say that I'm a writer. I say I'm a smut peddler.
Mm,
Like there is this like intentional degradation of the self that
mm,
comes with being a yaoi fan, even down to like reclaiming the word fujoshi,
mm,
which depending on the day I have very mixed feelings about as a word that you can reclaim.
mm,
Um that there's this intentional degradation of ourselves as fans for something that straight people get to enjoy
mm.
with very little questioning.
Yeah. And I
And
also think
yeah,
like and it's like it's a layered thing, right? Like
it
I don't
is.
feel any of this because I have listen, I have no shame. I don't care. I you know all of this like but I also don't have the same again, we talk so much on this podcast about cultural and historical context and obviously your context compared to mine is also very different with the whole, you have a lot going on. American, black, former Catholic. Like there's a lot to unpack there and I'm just over here like living my best heathen life. But even without that, right? There's like you're a fujin,
Hmm.
you enjoy smut and then there's the queer aspect and then on top
Hmm.
of that you're a nerd. And like being a nerd was already bad
Yeah.
because what we see is like even within the het spaces, right? Like yeah, they don't have to degrade themselves the way we do,
Hmm.
but at the same time, if they like something that is considered just a little bit off the beaten path, like a little bit strange, they'll be immediately like ironic about it.
Hmm.
Like you can't because there's like when you're so mainstream, and I think that that's one of those things where I like to say when people I mean, this is just me guessing. I'm not an academic on this. I don't know anything about this, but a lot of the time, especially hair, and I think you see it. Actually it's over there as well. You know how they have this idea about the queer blue-haired liberal with the piercings?
Yes.
Yeah, it's very much the same here where people will be in comment sections and be like, "Why are all of you gay people? Why do you all have colored hair and piercings?" And my theory is that when you live a life that is already so stigmatized, you're not really afraid of standing out anymore. Like,
Hmm.
okay, I mean, you're already judging me for who I like and
Hmm.
like how I dress or whatever. I might as well stand out even more then because you're already judging me. I think that we just kind of become more like we just care less in that sense.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. We have to joke about it and reclaim words as a way to better stairs an African American. I get
uh,
where you're going, but stairs an African
yeah.
American. Yes, but also
Yeah, I see that's one of those contexts.
exactly like. And please understand, like, if you've never thought about using the word Fujo as anything, I am not here to add burden to you. Be free. I wish I was more unburdened. I'm just not. I wish my fandom experience was less burdened. It
I just
isn't.
imagine you like did you ever play the Diablo games?
No.
No, okay, because I was fostered on Diablo 2 in particular. And one of my favorite things about this game is like you're walking your character around, like the
Mm-hmm.
the grasslands or whatever, and you try to pick up items, but your inventory is full, and then
Mm-hmm.
basically they try to pick up the thing and then it just kind of goes flying and it makes this clanking noise as it hits the ground and the character goes, I am
Yes.
overburdened. That's how I imagine
Yeah.
you.
That's me. That's me.
Like I am
I would love
overburdened.
I would love to unburden my fandom experience, but unfortunately there's all this intertextuality
Yeah,
floating
right.
around me. Um but I really loved that conversation. I want to have more of it because I'm fascinated
Mm.
by it. Like I said, I have an aunt who reads porn like Kakashi Sensei just out in the broad Christian daylight, and that's
And no one
that's
has
fine,
stoned her yet. Amazing.
right? And that's fine. And I finally did. It was on this trip, and it was like, hey, so my yaoi show, my queer media show, is kind of like what you do. And I think for a brief moment she had it. And then she and my other aunt were like, you should have us on the show. Just two straight Catholic women on the show. And it's like, you are the opposite of person I want on the show.
Wouldn't that be fun though? We can invite your aunties on and then we can have them do some recommended reading in advance and then we can talk about it.
They're going to recommend you read the Bible.
No, but we're going to recommend stuff for them to read.
I'm going to tell them you said that because they think you're amazing and your family doesn't know about me. This is so true. You become drawn to more subcultures, nerd, alt fashion, when you already don't fit in. Yeah, that's why I picked up witchcraft.
I mean, why not?
What the fuck was that?
No, I'm just thinking. I mean, obviously, you're now talking about like probably the past you picking up witchcraft, right? Or are you talking about the present?
I still do witchy stuff.
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying, no one would blame you if you picked up witchcraft at this specific time. I think. I think it's kind of just like, you know what?
I still do witchy stuff. That would be a hilarious special family episode. They would love to meet. They are so, my aunts, you know, they're in this delusional phase where suddenly all the things I do were super cool and interesting.
And they were always super supportive.
Oh, they were so supportive. Oh my God, they were so supportive of all of this, the entire time. But they're so interested and they'll talk about my shows and it's like, ma'am, I'm not having you on my show where we talk about fictional incest.
Maybe we shouldn't jump straight to the fictional incest. We could read something wholesome, like Sasamiya or something. And then we don't have to start with Jane no Subete, you know?
We wouldn't start with Jane no Subete. What the fuck are you talking about? Why would we start there?
I don't know.
Why would any of us start there?
Yes, we shall have a 10 count reading circle with Amanda's aunties.
I think they're going to be mad because it's like, that's not how you be a therapist.
It isn't, but again, must I stress that he's not actually Shirotane's therapist?
Why do you keep giving excuses for this man?
No, I'm just saying that there's a difference.
And it doesn't make it better?
I mean, it's slightly better.
After I attempted to read Fourth Wing and raging about it, my friends challenged me for the next PowerPoint night to compare mainstream plots to questionable smut to prove that questionable smut is just as wholesome. Oh my God. Also, I love the idea of PowerPoint night.
Yeah.
I don't have a friend group that will let me do that.
I do have a friend group, but I feel like it would be one of those things where it's like, we're all going to do a PowerPoint night. And then I lock the doors and then they have to listen to my 2-hour presentation on gravitation.
Invite me to PowerPoint night. I'm excited.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like we are constantly having to defend liking something that is very similar to what we now see as mainstream. Like, I remember when I was in high school, I picked up the nickname Kakashi Sensei because I was usually reading yaoi while walking through the halls.
Yeah.
That was just my nickname.
Yeah, I have friends who still call me Sensei.
Yeah, so like I would respond to that faster than my actual human name, which was weird. But like the idea of that not being okay. But my auntie who only reads like Zane novels, and Zane is a very specific type of like African American erotic literature that I don't have time to talk about on this live stream because we would be here all day.
It's okay. We have Google. How do you spell it? Is it like Zane, like the One Direction guy?
Zane.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
and the first fucking hit is the Love and Deep Space character.
no, not that one. Uh, no, not that one. But it's fascinating because, yeah, like my aunt read Zane novels when I was younger. I read some of her Zane novels, but my yaoi was that was different. That was
Yeah.
aberrant. That was unacceptable. Um, and yeah, it's a multi-layered issue because, yeah, obviously homophobia is a part of it, and then this like deep entrenching into debauchery
Mm.
that I think is so interesting. And there's a part of me that loves it. I love leaning into it. Like, I am not a novelist in a traditional sense. Please don't call me that.
All right, that's what we were talking about. Yes, I had a thought on that, but I will let you.
What was the thought, Carola?
I have many thoughts, but my brain is a sieve. No, but I think is that the
Yes.
sable tyrant and his pet fish? Because I'm very curious about that
Yes.
because I
I
kind of want
don't
to read it.
I don't
Be-
think he's a fish during the sex part.
See, because I want to read it because we kept talking about it and the fucking fish yaoi and
Yeah, I don't
yeah.
think he's a fish during the parts that we
No,
expect him to be a fish.
I just want to know. No, but what I was saying is that regarding, calling yourself a writer versus a smut peddler, or like, when I say I'm a BL author, and I think
Hmm.
that a lot of people can like sometimes I'll say things, right? Like, oh, I write BL novels, so like don't expect great literature. And what I mean by that is like it's not that I mean, obviously I am not, like a you can't compare me to like really, people who really write like amazing, like, classics or fucking whatever, those big rich people who are rich and admired for their prose. That's not me. Uh, but I specify that it's BL not because I think that my writing is less than, but
Hmm.
because BL has certain conventions and does a certain thing.
Yes.
And I need people to realize that if you go into this expecting it to be, like like something more mainstream. I'm not saying that I
Hmm.
can't write. Like I think Change of Heart, is very much like anyone could read it, even if you're not really into BL, because it feels kind of like more like a contemporary LGBTQ novel compared to some of
Hmm.
my other things. But it is still BL, and I think that it's important to know that I was influenced, like the way that I use language and the way that I characterize the character gallery, that it's influenced
Hmm.
by manga. It's like reading a comic. That's
Right.
my intention. So I'm not saying that my writing is less than, but I need you to know not to expect a certain other kind of fiction because it's different. Not in a
Right.
bad way necessarily. And it's the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
so if when you refer to yourself as a smut peddler, I've never thought of you as like that phrase as you putting yourself down. I've just thought of it as another way of like categorizing what it is you're writing. Like that's the genre. That's what you're doing. It's just another
Right.
way of cataloging it.
No, 100%. Because, like, yeah, when
I
if I
do
were
like Merman, yes.
we've reached the point of the live where we neither of us understand language anymore. Um, but it's true. Like, I definitely, especially because I write multiple things and I have like
Mm,
multiple different artist personas. Um, yeah, like the part of me that's on AO3 is not the same me as is the one that blogs. It's not
mm,
the same as my column. It's not the same as what I have to write for work. All
right.
of those things are different.
Yeah.
And when I say like I'm a smut peddler, same. I'm also saying, listen, I am here to provide you with fan fiction that will be smutty
Mm.
in the classic way. Speaking of, I saw the tag classic lovemaking on AO3, and I so badly want to understand what it means.
What is classic lovemaking?
Those that newfangled lovemaking. What do you mean classic lovemaking?
Okay, it's giving like my impression is like dim lights under the sheets, missionary position, gentle and loving.
No, there was cowgirl and spit.
Then I don't know. It can also
Right.
be like one of my favorite things. Again, like we have both studied classic literature.
Exactly. Divine
Yeah,
classic.
like what classic? In what? Within what? How are we measuring? What are the units? But yeah, no, like we are both like we both studied literature and classical literature and we are both media literate. That does
Mhm.
not mean I don't think it's hilarious when I am reading, a classic novel like a Regency, like set in the Regency era,
Mhm.
and they're talking about how and then he made love to me, and what they mean is he expressed his feelings,
Yes.
but it's the way that they use the words. And like I can be an academic person who thinks about things critically and like looks at it with, a learned perspective while also being incredibly childish about this. I can be both. Don't worry. There are two wolves inside of me. They're both
Yeah.
moon.
I can't with you. But
You
yeah,
love me. Shut up.
I do. But yeah, I saw that tag. It was on it was actually a Dobby Hawks fic,
Of
and it
course.
was leave me alone.
I'm not saying anything. Listen.
So many tags on AO3 make me wonder what the fuck they even mean. Am I too old or does AO3 get No, AO3 does get weird with tags.
Yeah.
Um but yeah, like I still don't know what classic lovemaking is.
I
If
think
anyone
I think we've just reached a point where remember how we all used to be like, I don't know how to tag lol. And I think that now we've just reached a point where people are just writing whatever. And then, it's kind of like tongue in cheek, but we're all confused
Mhm.
and no one knows if you're being serious or not anymore. No one knows
Yeah.
what's happening. It's
My
all
favorite
just,
my favorite tag is the writer's barely disguised fetish.
yeah.
But it's interesting, yeah, that like yes, in a way we do use these terms to prop ourselves up, but also as a distinction. So like yeah, don't come to my AO3 thinking that you're gonna get a ton of flowery language. You might get a really pretentious allusion to a classic novel or to something in pop culture. You might get that, and if you catch it, please ask me about it because I'm that writer.
Yeah. Yep.
Uh,
Yep.
who also hates being perceived.
Why are we like this? Like both of us. Again, you're more pretentious than I am, but I also do not want to be perceived so much.
The thing is that when you say I'm more pretentious, again, there are two wolves in me. I want to be offended, but I also know that I'm the most pretentious writer.
Like, no, but like, and I'm not saying it to insult you. I am saying it because you keep saying it, and I know what you
I
mean
am.
because of the conversations that we have both on this show and in person in our private chat. When you start talking about these obscure things that you do that no one cares about.
Listen,
And I
I
I
I
love
come
that for
from a
you.
very old age of fandom expression where there would always be one motherfucker that would.
But I mean, to be fair, I can't remember if I told this story on this podcast, but when I went back to once again make a futile attempt at re-editing my first novel,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I know I got up to all the way up to chapter 3. Okay. And because I'm cutting a lot of stuff, I've
Mm-hmm.
separated it into a separate document so I can make more messy notes that without fucking up the script I'm actually editing in. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, why in the hell have I stopped editing in the middle of the chapter? Like, what happened? And then I started reading, and then this is literally how it went down. Okay, this is the whole. So I am also guilty. So a character makes a comment on another character's hair, and then there
Mm-hmm.
is something, because again, I was a stupid, pretentious 19-year-old who felt like I needed to show that I knew what I was talking about. Let me make
Mm-hmm.
some cool historic reference, right? So I'm pretty sure I'm referencing the Nanshoku culture of, samurai having apprentice slash lovers, like younger
Mm-hmm.
men. And then I was like, okay, how can I rewrite this so it sounds less cringe, but still kind of, because it like this bit has to be there because it bridges into a conversation that I don't want to cut, but I just need to like redo it somehow. And and then I started thinking about, these samurai apprentices and the boys in the Nanshoku culture, and they have this specific hairstyle. And then I got sidetracked looking up the hairstyle and like, what is it actually called? And am I actually referencing the right thing? And then this led me down the path of um, Matsuda Ryuhei's actor debut in Gohato. And I was like, why doesn't he actually have that hair in Gohato? Is this a historical choice, or is it because they just wanted him to look prettier? And then I was on Instagram complaining about it. And then Dr. Emerald King, which I mentioned earlier in this live, she tipped me on some Shinsengumi stuff that I could check out to see more about like the Shinsengumi and the bodyguards and the young men, these series. And that was when my hard drive crashed. And then I had to stop editing and start rescuing data from my hard drive. And that was how that whole thing went down. Because I went down the path of how can I do proper research on this dude's hair that no one cares about.
That no one fucking cares.
Like, no one's gonna care. And it's not like he doesn't even have that hair. I just wanted to, because I didn't want someone to make a flippant remark that didn't make sense. And then
See, when we talk about this is what we mean when we say BL Odo stays with you, because we are so human beings, anthropology, we have a predisposition to fear large birds because there was a time in our
fear large birds.
Yeah.
Yes.
Same. I love birds. I fear large birds. But there was a period in our evolutionary history where we were hunted by large birds. We have evidence of that in the fossil record.
I just have to go outside during seagull season. I can prove it. Don't worry.
So, like, we are still defensive over something in fandom that happened years ago. Yeah. Because while I am being too much by caring too much, there was always that one dense ass motherfucker.
Yeah.
Who would be in your comments being like, well, actually, that wasn't James Bond's game. Actually, that's not exactly what it was. I am still actively defending myself against the archetype of someone who really doesn't exist anymore.
Right. And again, it's like, it's one of those things because you get so in your head about it. Because like, yeah. Because like no one cares. It's kind of like, I was okay. So one of my favorite Norwegian authors, I may have mentioned this before. Like he wrote a book, like it's an amazing book, which I guess today people would be like, is this BL? No, it isn't. It has queer themes, but no, it's not a BL. But it's beautiful and it's wonderful. And so that's the first book in this series about this guy. And he ends up writing like a whole series of books following this guy, like in different stages of his life. And then he decided after the third book, or I guess as the third book, to make a prequel. So this author goes back and makes a prequel to two novels that already exist. Now we know that this protagonist, he has an alcoholic father and he has a mother, and they are divorced. And, issues. And then all of a sudden in the prologue, he has an older brother. And the author is trying to pass it off like this older brother has always existed. But I've read 2 books already, and I know for a fact that this guy was an only child. until this author just went, okay, you know what? Actually, the brother was there all along. He's trying to gaslight you. And it's like, even though he just made this brother up out of nowhere, like, I don't really care. Like, you can literally just change the fucking trajectory of the story. It's not that serious, but we will sit there and get hung up on the dumbest fucking thing. Feel like,
It
no.
is it and again, like, it all ties back to that way, to the BL Odo, to
Yeah.
our Odo as fans. Is it like, I'm still defending myself against a danger that was very present when I first came up in fan and writing spaces? Was that one asshole over there? I'm still, it is 2025. For the most part, that person only exists during Marvel movies, and they're always wrong because they've only seen the MCU movies.
Yeah, and like, and again, but it's like, even then, and going back to, again, the same novel story, like the same novel, right?
Yes.
When they turn it into a film, which one day I will show this film to you. It's lovely. But there was like this big, and when I say big, like, there was a small commotion around the film because it takes
Mm-hmm.
place in 1989. The
Okay.
Berlin Wall is about to fall. Like, there are all
Cool.
of these big overarching things happening. And then there's
Mm-hmm.
this one throwaway comment because they're trying to sneak into like a bar. And
Mm-hmm.
one of the characters says that the other guy bought his fake glasses at this low price chain that apparently didn't exist in 1989. And then everyone gets like weirdly obsessed with how, oh, how could they overlook, like this is so stupid because Nila didn't exist in 1989. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, but no, but like, it doesn't change anything about the film, right? It's still a great movie. Like, no one cares, but you will be there. Like, that's the thing, right? Because you'll notice and you'll be like, oh, haha, that's funny because that didn't exist back then. But
Mm-hmm.
the author, in our heads, we're like, well, if this is wrong, I'm going to get crucified tomorrow.
I wonder if BL fans might be more critical than fans of other genres because let's see. I want to see what the other part of this is, but I have an
Yeah.
answer immediately. I
Mm.
want to see what the rest of it is, but I have an immediate answer. Most of us write ourselves. No, I don't think we're more critical. I think some of us in the fandom are more critical because we're writers. But I would not say that that as a whole for the BL fandom points in the direction of purity culture and antis. I don't think we're better than anyone. I would say to this day, the group that antagonizes the most, and I can say this because I'm a part of it, is like your big three Western comics. Like, it's still going to be those DC fans, those Marvel fans. They're the ones that still to this day are the ones that are like, hey, that's the wrong tire on the Batmobile. It's actually this one. And I can say, again, I say that being hello, ding, 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 you know,
Because that's
I,
you.
that's also me. Where it's like, actually, that's the wrong hex code on Captain America's suit.
Mm.
It's this blue.
But yeah, but maybe that's it though. Like, we are more critical because we are all nerds and we're all so, like, we are so caught up in this stuff, and also because
Yeah.
we're so self-aware. I think
Yeah.
because that's the thing, like, because we never judge, at least I don't think so. I don't do this. Like, I never judge anyone else as hard as I judge myself. Like, I make a dumb mistake in my writing and I'm like, well,
Exactly.
I guess I'll just go fucking throw myself into the ocean then. But if
Exactly.
someone else did it, I'd be like, oh, whatever, no big deal.
Right. Like, even if it's super out of character, and I've had fics that are like that. Like, I've read other people's fics and it's like, oh, this is bad.
Mm.
I'm not gonna say anything.
No, like, what do you think my first fic looked like? Like,
Right. Like, I'm not gonna say
God.
anything. Like, whatever. Like, it's like, oh, this is not an accurate representation of this character. Okay, cool. I can leave. But yeah, I think it's also one of my favorite things again is that idea that like nerds aren't nerds of other things. Like, they definitely sequestered us with like being like BL and Yaoi fans. It's like, oh, and the Fujos are over here doing this one thing, and it's like the Fujos were in every fandom.
Yeah. And
We've been here.
like, yeah, I am a Fujo and like I live and breathe BL, but I have other obsessions and I am just as bad with them. It's just that this is what
Exactly.
takes up the most time. Of course, then of course the Fujo life bleeds into everything because if I start thinking
Yeah.
about a lot of the stuff that I love, I realize that I'm, always looking at a lot of it with Fujo glasses.
Raise his hand. But yeah,
I
it's like I think it's like, at least for me, I attribute a lot of my anal retentiveness in that regard to being a comics fan, to being
Mm,
like oh, that's the wrong color of Superman's wearing on the outside underpants. Like a lot of
mm,
that in me, that meticulously researched, that I will not say anything that isn't
yeah.
factual that you
Exactly,
check.
because it goes back to, and I think especially as AFAB nerds, it's that constant need to defend yourself and to prove yourself and to be like, I deserve to be here. I have
Mhm.
earned this.
Mhm.
You do not get to question me on my knowledge on this absolutely insane trivia that means nothing because one day some guy walks up to you and like is in your face about whatever you're like the magazine you're holding or the shirt you're
Mhm.
wearing or
Mhm.
anything. And so we are just, it's like there's this constant vigilance, I think, that makes us so critical and
Yeah.
most importantly self-critical.
Yes. Um and I think that that's really really interesting, because again, like when we talk about what we were with the BL Odo and our ways and everything like that, like I can see that in my writing. Like again, like all of that is defense. All that are defense mechanisms built up from years of being in this space and seeing how others and myself have been treated. So that is a part of my BL way. When
Mm,
I look, you have, like, I guess like the 10 commandments, you have your BL commandments
mm.
next to you while you write.
Yeah. And it's
Meticulous research is there.
yeah, and it's like it's that thing like it's not a clear split, but there are like
No.
those two sides that is like on the one hand you are part of that path is the defensiveness and like
Mhm.
needing to justify everything and explain and like
Mhm.
why are you doing this, like why is it this way, or like how
Mhm.
meticulous can you get to get your point across. But then on the other side of it there's also the other part of that odo, that path, which is the preferences
Mhm.
and that what we talk about so much on this podcast, that ultimately you are writing for you because you are like, yeah, you're being extra like careful and meticulous and super detailed and
Mhm.
doing insane research because you want to make sure that you get everything right and no one can like take you on it and like,
Mhm.
but at the same time you are writing this for you because you are creating what you wanted to see within the framework that you are enjoying, the path that you have chosen to walk. So it's like, this is for me, but also if someone comes at me, I'm ready. Like, let's go.
Literally, like, no, and it's true because I think like someone asked, like, why do you do this? Like, no one's making you. Why are you stressed out, like losing chunks of your hair over a throwaway line that literally no one cares about? And it's like, but I care.
Yeah. And that is, like what I said in the main episode as well. Like, again, we may not have known the term BL Odo,
Yeah,
but
it's always been
that,
with us.
yeah, that pride and that like the honor of doing it the right way and the right way for us has always
Mhm.
been there with us.
Yes, and very much so. Like
Yeah.
when you have to constantly justify your space in fandom, you get really good at knowing and embodying your fandom. So one thing, if this continues to be the episode where Amanda flatters herself, one thing I get comments on is my really really solid characterization.
Mm.
It's like, yeah, because I live and breathe this show. Like, I don't write too far
Mm,
out of what I know. I don't tend to write super new things or things that I haven't super ingested. I write things that have been in my bones for decades.
yeah.
But of course,
And
my characterization is good.
of course, and another aspect as well to the whole defensiveness and being, constantly vigilant is also that writing, regardless if you're writing fanfic, if you're
Mhm.
writing originals, it's so personal.
It is.
And it's kind of like, because when I'm hanging out with my friends or even people I don't know very well, and I'm like talking about, you know we're talking about some fandom or something, and it's
Mhm.
kind of like, again, I'm going to bring out Naruto because it's the simplest thing, right? I have this friend, I've said this before, like we go on our weekly walks and we talk, and
Mhm.
every so often we start talking about Naruto, right? And it's so interesting how what we focus on different things, because he's a very
Yes.
much, I mean, he's a straight man, and he's a straight man who acknowledges that Sasunaru is the one true pairing in this. Like, he's very aware. Like, he doesn't see it any other way, because Jesus Christ. However, he doesn't focus on that. Like, his focus has always been on, like,
Mhm.
like the lore and the techniques, and he remembers all of these things that I don't, because I
Mhm.
focused on something very different when I was reading, and but it's interesting because when we have those conversations, even if he wasn't a good friend of mine, if he was just someone I was like just like chatting about a series we have in common with, I am capable in real life of like laughing it off and being like,
Mhm.
I can't really speak to that because I don't remember much of that, or I was never particularly interested in how the jutsus work, or whatever,
Mhm.
because I focus on the character relationships. Like, I was focusing on something else. But when you're writing, even though you are writing and you are putting this out publicly on the internet, when
Mhm.
someone comes into your comment section and takes you on it, that's kind of like someone comes into your house unsolicited, and kind of like it feels like an attack even when it isn't, because you are so self-aware. And so it's a very different dynamic,
It
because
is.
it's
It
such
is.
a personal space, even though you share and you want people to read it, and you want to have a dialogue, but also it does hurt a little if someone, like, even when it's deserved. Like, I still remember some of the comments I got, when I first started writing fics, and I was just like copying whatever I was seeing and like
Mhm.
using terms that other people were using, and then someone would be in your comments like, actually, you can't write like that because that is so fucking stupid. And looking back at it now in my 30s, I'm like, yeah, that was fucking stupid, because you can't, that person was right. But I was
Mhm.
15 and I was hurt, you know, because they were
I
so mean about it.
I love that this is the only way we can talk about us as authors.
Yeah. Like,
We have done multiple episodes on us as writers, and they've all been charitably mid at best because we clam up and we freak out, and it's this perpetual author's curse that like we cannot speak highly of ourselves.
genuinely. Okay, last week, no. Yes, last Monday, I was at a thing at the library with,
Mhm.
some kids. Which, by the way, was there was this really really sweet 14-year-old who had read one of my novels, and she was completely like starry eyed. She was so sweet, and that was really fun. So talking to her was no problem, because she was like
Mhm.
asking me questions and like talking about the characters and the things she liked. That was amazing. Like, that made me feel
Mhm.
great. But then one of the librarians, because this was at a different library that we don't usually have events at, and then
Mhm.
she asks me, and then an adult person who works with literature, asks me about my writing, and I just go, oh, I don't know how to, like, I was just completely like, and I just, yeah, I cannot have a proper conversation because I just freak out. Like, I have to be prepared. Like, you put me on a stage or like in a podcast studio and ask me about it, I'll be prepared. If I'm just hanging out in a room where we were making like zines, and then someone just sprung that question on me, I was like, I I didn't study for this test.
We were in a podcast studio and we still fucked it up.
That's different because we are both the subject and the object of this conversation. It's not the same.
It's not. Uh, I have this in my calendar blocked out because I always do. And of course, in the calendar, it's sexual politics, what gets to be BL live. Um, it displays on my phone, but on my watch, it says content hidden because of the word sexual.
That is fantastic.
But yeah, I really hope that we all get to have these moments where we look at our BL Odo, when we look at, the things that we write and do. I was very, very lucky to take writing courses when I was in college. So
Lucky.
I'm very hardwired to be someone that thinks about my own writing a lot. Frankly, too much.
Oh, maybe. Could be.
I'm sorry, am I boring you?
No, I'm just really tired because, cat
Yes.
bonding.
It is hard to talk about your own writing
Truly.
oftentimes.
Let me complain about how much I'm not writing. That's great. Don't ask me about the actual writing.
So like I am probably a little bit too wired to think about the implications of my own writing. Also, intertextuality floating all over. I usually have to give more reasons than my white compatriots as to why I'm doing this,
Mhm.
because being black typically means that my intentionality is questioned more. Because we don't have interests.
No,
No,
you don't.
we don't like things. We're just here.
This could be me not being raised in America, but it just makes me wonder, like, what exactly is it that people think about black people? Like, what are you supposed to? Actually, I don't want to know.
I was about to say, I have the answer and you don't want it. You don't want it. I know the answer. You don't want it.
I take it back. No. Oh my god. Yeah, no.
Oh my goodness.
But it's just, I mean, and yes, no, because, and I know it's rooted in racism. And it's not even rooted, like, it is blatant racism. It's out there every day. But it's just so wild to live in a world where it's like, okay, this is where we are in the great timeline of humanity. This is where we are in the modern era, and people still think that black people don't have interests or rights and cannot feel pain.
Nope.
Like, I'm sorry, what planet are you from? I don't understand. Like, see, okay, we're not even now we're just reeling off. I remember when I was in like grade school, and we were learning about I think we were learning about it, or I was just reading on my own because I'm a nerd. But I was anyway, it was when I was first introduced to the the thing where back in the Enlightenment era, whatever, all of these like clever old dudes who were doing everything and like, oh, we are doing the science, didn't think that animals felt pain, so they were just like slicing them up while they were still alive.
Yes.
And I had the same reaction when I literally a couple of years ago found out about the racism in the medical system, because apparently black people also don't feel pain. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I'm sorry for being an ignorant white person, I guess. What the?
Yes.
I just want to save all of you. Like, I need to get all of you out of there. I
don't want to be here anymore.
Okay, the SS Gaslight is now becoming the Noah's Ark.
It's a refugee flotilla.
Yeah, we're gonna take all of our listeners in the US and we're gonna save you guys, okay?
We're gonna we're all gonna go on the SS Gaslight, and we're
Yeah.
gonna take up one of those uninhabited polar bear islands.
Oh, did you see the thing about the polar bears who had taken over an old science station and they were just
Yes.
like, "Oh my god, it's the best thing I've seen all week."
Yeah, I did see that. Also, if you saw me shocked a second ago, I had one of those very necessary moments, as you do, where I needed to see fire.
You know.
I was surprised that the flame went so high. I had one of those very normal moments, like you do, where I just needed to see fire.
You're super normal. I know. It's because, you're preparing because for going to hell and all that. Do not bring that. Listen, don't break my illusion again. Let me have my image of hell.
Hell is not hot.
Don't do this to me.
I will pull up biblical resources to tell you that hell is not hot.
Speaking of biblical stuff, congratulations everybody for surviving the rapture.
Oh yeah, congratulations, rapture survivors. The most interesting but also horrifying story I heard out of the rapture was parents would leave extra sets of their clothes out on the lawn and then like go hide in the house to punish their children. So the children thought that their parents were raptured.
And they say that the non-Christian people should not be raising children. Yes. I found out about the rapture the day before by accident because one of the drama YouTubers that I listen to sometimes was covering like rapture talk. And I was like, what do you mean rapture talk?
And then you immediately went to me.
Yeah. Yeah, because I was like, Amanda!
And then Carola immediately went to me and was like, make sense of this. And it's like, I fucking can't.
Okay, so it's like 1 a.m. my time, and I'm in Amanda's DMs like, why are people preparing for the rapture by giving away Jesus figures? Make this make sense. And I was like, Amanda, you have to answer this because if you don't, I will not be able to sleep. And then you said, well, looks like you won't be sleeping tonight because I have no idea.
And then I was a good seme.
Thank you.
And researched it so you would go the fuck to bed.
Yes, thank you.
You leave that detail out where I then had to subject myself to rapture talk because I wasn't on it. I had to go dig into rapture talk to make it make sense for you, even.
I didn't need you to do that. I just thought that maybe you were aware.
I wasn't.
Oh
my
god!
Yes,
so, but that's a little more humane.
Yeah, that's different. But yeah, happy rapture survival.
Oh my god!
I know I talk about this all the time on this show, but like I love thinking that like I escaped religious trauma. It's like I don't have any baggage from my dad's weird cult or being raised Roman Catholic. I don't have any weird baggage with that.
You're perfectly fine. I'm sending you a picture of my view.
Can I fucking help you? Oh!
Is she not the sweetest? I will put it in the Discord.
Dies. But I love to think like, oh yeah, I escaped the worst of it. I really don't have that much. And then like rapture talk happens and it's like, oh, I have so
the fact that it was scheduled on Bi Visibility Day, like wow.
None of us were going. None of us were going. But
we wouldn't go.
Yeah, so congratulations on surviving yet another rapture. I think
we did it, fam.
Millennials at this point have survived at least 5.
I don't even know.
At least 5.
Like raptures, end of the world.
Yeah. So congratulations on surviving another one. Listen, the world is on fire in a lot of ways. And one thing that helps me cope is being able to do this podcast with one of my favorite people on this planet.
even though, even though,
What was
even
that
though you
noise?
complain so much about me.
What was what was that soft '90s UK noise that you made? Don't do that again. Don't do that again. I don't like it.
Stop it! I'm trying to be cute.
What in the what in the soft '90s UK was that?
Don't worry. Like you say all these nice things about me now, but I just want you to know that figure skating season has started and I am about to become a giant pain in everyone else's ass.
Disassociates. Carola is hard to reach on a good day.
I'm sorry. Just again, it's literally no one else's fault. It's just me and my lack of spoons.
I will have to check that out,
Oh
even though it
yeah.
might make me sad. Um, Carola, what are we talking about next month? Which is in a couple of days.
Oh god, don't say that. I'm not ready. I don't want actually I don't want it, I don't want it to be like winter and cold, but also Halloween season. Yes.
And your concert.
Yes. That
It's
is
in
right.
my calendar.
Yes. It's also in my calendar.
What?
But right now this concert is just like it's less yay I'm gonna see Flo sing Naruto songs and
It's
more oh
more
my god I hope the cats will get along by then from my parents when they're gonna babysit them.
what concert are you going to?
We're seeing Flo and they're only performing Naruto songs, so we're like a big group that are going and we're all gonna be like in Naruto cosplay and I'm gonna cry like a moron. It's really great. It's gonna be great. But yeah, aside from that, October, spooky month. Also, slightly dabbling into the religious trauma, we are doing the long-awaited special delve into the summer Hikaru died.
Which just got announced for a season 2.
Did it?
It did.
Oh, I didn't realize because I'm so far behind on the episodes. I'm like 4 episodes behind.
I'm excited to cover this. We do have to have our mandatory, it's not technically a BL conversation. But also, yes, it is.
I mean, it isn't, but yes, it is. Listen. I will save it for next month, but I do want to
Yeah.
say that there is that one scene. I have seen less erotic stuff in some BL. That's all I'm saying. It's very good. I love it. I enjoy it a lot.
We're also going to talk about the bury your gaze trope.
I have so many articles I need to read.
Which
And
is
then
one of
I will,
Carola and I's favorites.
yes, guilty of doing the barrier gaze. Sadly.
I'm more of a nobody dies, everyone lives kind of writer.
But I mean, I just want to specify. I have killed one character, and it was horrible, but he had to die.
Oh, I've killed multiple characters, including Suichi Shindo one time.
Why are you like this? What
'Cause
have
I
he
had
ever
monsters
done to you?
standing in the way of what I want.
Sadly, he's what Yuki wants. So,
Yuki can be manipulated. I've read Panda. Yuki can be manipulated.
leave him alone.
If you ever needed a nutshell of Carola and I as authors, it's this.
Honestly,
Uh, I'm guilty of that because I adore tragedy. So we're going to talk about bury your gaze, which I think is really, really interesting, and especially in this current political climate, because the bury your gaze trope becomes a bit of like a recession indicator. So get ready for more tragic fictional gay deaths.
woo. I'm gonna try. I mean, I'm not making any promises, but remember how I was reading? I was reading Kazutoki no Uta
You were.
earlier this summer,
You
and then
were.
for some reason I just stopped.
Yes.
So in maybe if I have the time, as I am living on the bathroom floor with Celebi anyway, maybe I'll pick it back up and try to see if how much tragedy I can get under my belt before our next recording.
I'm contractually obligated to say that sounds like a cry for help. Like you just on the bathroom floor reading Kaze no Uta.
It's okay.
Like I have to as a mandated Yaoi reporter, I have to say that sounds like a cry for help because you bet your ass if I messaged you, I'm on the bathroom floor reading Jano Subete, you would break all of your normal positions, call the American police and have them check on me.
Okay, but that's different.
Hoose. How? House.
Well, I mean, first of all, this is Jane Osubete, which I mean, Gilbert isn't having a great time either, but like,
Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with
thank
us for
you.
2 fucking hours. Oh my gosh, hi!
Hi.
Victoria. I am. I
You have
have.
so many titles.
I do. I do so much.
You
I
do
should
so
do
much.
less.
You should do less.
I want to start another podcast.
You no, you don't.
Yes, I
See, I
do.
know I know you were raised by hyper competent black women in America where you're not allowed to breathe ever. Uh but I, as a person who is certifiably exhausted and can't do anything, do you recommend just like becoming so exhausted that you can't do anything else?
No. But thank you so much for hanging out with us for two
Thank
fucking hours.
you.
This was a
Wow.
blast. I had so much fun.
I
If
can't
you
believe it's been
have
2 hours.
if you have any questions or follow up, we will be in Discord to talk about this stuff because the conversation never ends. That's why we have a Discord is to keep the conversation going. I realize I have so much anime to watch and manga to read. So I will be watching not Jane of Sabete. Oh my God, it's on the brain. December Hikari died. I'm not going back to Jane of Sabete. It's
we
harder.
we already did that this year.
We did that already. And Carola and I are going to have a quarterly meeting soon to talk about the end of the year and going into next year. It happens every
I
quarter.
know, but I don't like, why is time so fast? How are we already at the quarter is what I'm wondering.
Where do you find the Discord? You can find it in almost every episode description. Um, or actually, hold
Can
on.
you just put it in the chat?
Fuck off.
I am asking as someone who does not have access to typing in the chat.
Fuck off. Can you not be lazy and just put it in the chat?
No, I was trying to be helpful.
Here's Discord access. Uh, feel free to hang out with us and enjoy. And we will see you all in next month's episode. Thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you for joining us.
We'll see you soon.
See
Bye.
you. Bye.